this is Aromie here. Welcome back to our Life Life DLC. I'm pretty sure we're going to the final stretch here. I'm pretty sure. When you arrived for your session that day, you noticed Baxter's foot was tapping against the floor in a steady rhythm. It seemed the lessons from the day before were still on his mind. Sup? I'm no longer saying hello, hi, just sup. Hi.
Good afternoon.
So nice to see you again. With all the work, planning, and effort a thing of the past, you were having your final appointment with Baxter. The two of you situated yourselves on the purple couch in your normal spots, though Cove was unable to treat the visit as anything near normal. His legs had stiffened from nervousness so bad, the bend in his knees was like the snap of two branches. He nearly fell onto the cushion. Baxter, on the complete opposite end of the comfort spectrum from Cove, smiled with that natural ease.
Well.
Then, this is the last time we're likely to see each other until the day of your wedding. Are you feeling prepared? Yes, no, I'm not sure. After how many meetings and appointments we went through, definitely I am, but I'm not sure Cove is. Maybe Cove is, but I'm not. Yes, for sure. Cove didn't react whatsoever, not to Baxter or you. He was frozen solid. Baxter runs his hands along the inside of his edges of his jacket and placed his most encouraging smile on his face. To be honest. In all honesty, you've both done beautifully. Your wedding will be an event to be proud of, and I'll be there to make certain it flows smoothly. All you need to do now is enjoy yourselves. Each line Baxter spoke chipped away at the frosted shell around Cove until it cracked. Her fiancé replied in a small voice. Thank you. That's what I like to hear. Thank you. Now, having broken the ice, Baxter easily shifted back into work mode. He touched the tips of his fingers to a pile of papers on the desk to his side. I've got the details for the hotel for you here. I was able to book 2 standard single bedrooms for you and your parties to use and get ready in. The hotel is a minute from the ceremony venue, so you won't need to make a trip out there the morning of. Thanks, Baxter. Baxter! You're good at this. Cove's I can't fucking read. I've been recording for like 4 hours or something. Cove's admittance was almost embarrassed. He scratched at his cheek and shared a look with you. You remember how hard of a time the two of you had getting a room when you had come sunset bird for your mom's anniversary. It was an ordeal. Cove chuckled, knowing you were reminiscing of the same experience. Baxter accepted the compliment earnestly without prying. He leaned on his elbow against his chair's armrest and propped his head up against his hand.
Glad to hear it.
I do strive to be. He continued to relax, following up his prior motion with the cross of his legs, and I very much appreciate your great patience with a series of questions throughout this experience. I do still have yet one more topic I'd like to discuss. When you leave here, the wedding planning is over. Do either of you have an opinion on seeing your beloved before the ceremony? That was not something Cove had considered. He didn't have words to back up the hasty interruption. Baxter smoothed it over by elaborating. I know some couples follow the tradition of completely cutting contact in the lead up to the wedding, so it's a reuniting when they come together for the ceremony. Others stay apart physically, though communicate over the phone, and there are those who don't participate in that whatsoever and stay with one another. This time Cove gave himself space to consider it, letting the concepts sink in.
I don't know.
I mean, I didn't have plans to be away from Chica, and like being around her when that's an option. But I guess maybe we could do that if it's a special thing for weddings. He laughed breathily and sent Baxter a question of his own. Are you gonna make fun of me for being clingy now?
Never.
You knew just how much Baxter meant that. Cove, however, didn't have the same context. Oh, okay. Good. People shouldn't make fun of him for that. You really should change your stance. Teasing Cove is fun. That's lucky for the both of us. I'm clingy too. You're very sweet, Baxter, but he's definitely clingy. He patted Cove on the shoulder reassuringly. He had to laugh at Cove, calling himself out that. I'll probably be laughing. Cove gasped dramatically that Baxter would give him a pass and his own fiancé wouldn't. When he stopped clutching his pearls, Cove instead put on a pout. You were charmed by both his unambiguous attachment to you and by how cute he generally was. But you made an effort to not be entirely distracted, and you gave an answer to the question at hand. Would you mind staying in a separate hotel room? We can meet at the wedding later. Would you mind staying in a separate hotel room? We can talk over the phone. Cove wanted to share a room with you. Oh, remember when we used to talk on the phone? Can we do that? Cove snorted indignantly. You called me clingy and now you want to call? But come on. Yeah, and I know you'll pick up because you're clingy. Cove's shoulders and head slumped down in sync, his tough stance deflating like a balloon. You're right. Cole shuffled the balls of his feet against the carpet, all the while glancing over at you bashfully. You held on to his sweet gaze as long as you could. You were going to have to go without it for a while soon. Off to the side, Baxter watched the two of you from his spot in the office chair. The fondness in his expression for you and Cole had tipped past his usual professional distance. Not wanting to ruin the moment, he spoke in a soft voice. Very good. Everything is settled then. From there, the rest of the meeting was spent going over final details and the whole plan step by step. Baxter wanted to make sure you were on the same page and prepare for the events ahead. He shared amusing anecdotes of past weddings he had planned. Some highlighted actual potential pitfalls you could intentionally avoid, and others were one in a million debacles. The most unbelievable was a story of a particular orchid ceremony from the year before. The stage was set with flowers, a walkway, seating, and wooden arch at the end. He was looking on in a final survey, primed for the guests to arrive, when an out-of-control truck with a back end full of apples drove straight through. The driver was unharmed when he got the truck to stop, and the couple were still married, albeit in a much simpler arrangement. But Baxter distantly remembers the most comedic surrealness of it. Seeing a completed wedding and then having a flattened back to the ground in the blink of an eye was something he never expected or hoped to experience. While the planner chuckled in recollection, Cove leaned over to ask you if you thought there'd be any reason a fruit truck might have to be at your venue. You're pretty sure there wasn't. The stories and laughter continued until the end of the appointment. It reminded you of the final day of class before summer vacation. Technically, you were still in school, but everyone was eager for the fun to begin. Then goodbyes were exchanged as usual, with promises to see each other soon like there had been every time you'd visit. However, when you left the office, you had to wonder if you would ever go back there again. When you saw Baxter next, it would be at the wedding location. Maybe you would return someday if you and Cove decided to renew your vows and needed a planner again. Or maybe you could visit just as friends and not as customers. Under a wide starry sky, you and Cove hopped into his car and head back. Despite having done it many times before, it felt completely different that time. After the click of seatbelts being snapped into place, there was a silence in the cab. None of the boisterous from minutes ago had come along with you. Cove's expression was pensive as he rounded the curb and got the car out onto the street. A gentle rumbling resonated over you from wheels rolling across the tarmac. I do not like this soundtrack because I always feel like I'm doing something wrong when this soundtrack plays. That was the only word he managed to articulate before his mouth clamped up tight again. He had an internal struggle made visible, and ultimately he made enough peace with it to finally smile. Right now I have a lot going in my head, you probably guessed that. There's so much I want to say to you about us and what's happened, all of this. But it would probably make more sense if I said it during the wedding, right? His voice dropped to a complete whisper, but his grip on the steering wheel intensified. It's so close now. Cove took in a deep breath through his nose, allowing his fingers to loosen again. That was followed by him answering his own question.
Don't worry about it.
Pretend this didn't happen. I can wait for you. Come on. You can give me a hint of what you're planning. You can say it whenever you're ready, and if you ever are. Dang, I'm so curious now. There's no way I can act like I didn't hear that. You simply know you whine disappointed. You can say it whenever you're ready, if you ever are. Thanks, you're always nice to me. That warmed you up inside. Nothing felt better than knowing he could rely on you. But there's a lot of other things I'm thinking about too. Like the fact that these are the last moments of our lives together, not being married. After this, I'll be your husband, you'll be my wife. Unbelievable. It's just amazing. I love you, Cove. Twisting your seat, let the side of your face rest against the back of the chair. You rested there at the end of such a long project, watching your almost husband as you continue to drive ahead. The two of you were moving forward, full of hope and anticipation for your very near future. After days, weeks, years of waiting to commit yourself to the love of your life, the morning of your wedding arrived. It was the realization that hit you as you laid in a dark hotel room. And I think I had to pause real quick because my throat hurts. Okay. I think my throat feels better now. I had to get more tea for myself for my throat. It was a realization that hit you as you laid in a dark hotel room. You were still half asleep and totally cozy. You're awake and feeling peaceful. You're fully awake and full of excitement. You're wide awake from nerves. You're fully awake and full of excitement. You weren't able to tell exactly how long you've been up at that point. You rolled over to check the time. Sat on the side table next to the bed was a stock standard digital clock, flashing the current hour and minute in bright red lines. It was time to get up. At least it was if you didn't want to be late or show up to your wedding in pajamas. And thinking of that, it struck you that Cove had to have gotten up as well. And if he hadn't woken up even earlier, reaching over to the table, you got hold of her phone, clicking it in a showed a string of new messages. It wasn't hard to guess why people might have things they wanted to say to you that particular day, but one name on the list caught your attention over all others. Cove. He'd messaged you. You opened your chat with him instantly and read each individual text. I'm awake. I want to call you, but I don't want to wake you up if you're asleep. It's important to have a good night's sleep, especially now and all the time. You can call me when you want to. I love you. Oh, you started grinning before you'd even finished the set, and by the end, your heart had started pounding painfully. Cove brought you joy so effortlessly. You tap at the screen to switch from messages to his contact page, clicking to call. There was already an answer the moment you lifted the phone to your ear. Hello, Michiko? Yes, hi. Oh, cool. His tone grew softer and you pressed the phone closer to hear. Congratulations on your wedding. Congratulations on your wedding. Good morning. Isn't it a little early for that, you tease? I'm really looking forward to seeing you in your suit today. You chuckled. No, congratulations. He chimed back happily. Thank you. It was a lovely moment to share, both mundane and incredibly special in its own way. But then Cove gave a deep sigh. The gentle voice turned to a distant whisper. It's almost time. He brought some levity back to his tone with a joking question. Would it be wrong to say I'd rather go see you instead of getting ready? Yes, Cove. Not to say, but you shouldn't actually do it. Think of how much planning we did. We can't let that go to waste. Forget the planning we did. Let's just go hang out and joke. You firmly but affectionately huffed at the suggestion. Forget the planning. I got a laugh from Cove. I'll stay. People are coming here soon for the wedding party. After making a declaration to be responsible, he stalled there. Alright. Yeah. Cove's yeah wasn't directed at anything in particular. He was grasping to fill space, to buy time while he sorted his thoughts. We're getting married. I'm going to marry you. The gravity of the occasion fell on Cove heavier and heavier as he vocalized it. My stomach hurts. Cove. You weren't able to say another word before he sucked in an audible breath. I have to go. Right now. I'm getting nervous. It's gonna get worse, but I want to do this more than anything else. Your heart went out to the man you loved. You knew how these events were a struggle for him. There was a gasp as he finally let out the air he'd been holding in. Bye. I love you. It'll be okay, Cove. You can do it. Bye. See you soon. Don't forget yourself to heart. I love you too. Goodbye. Well, of course we're going to say I love you too. Without letting his determination lapse, Cove ended the call. As short of an exchange it was, hearing his voice had been such a nice way to start the day. You knew you made the right choice to not fully separate. You sprung off the mattress onto your feet and got into action. You had places to be and people to see. Your clothes were hanging up against the door of the small hotel closet and you went right over to admire the outfit. It was fantastic. The day was fantastic. Everything was fantastic. You could barely contain yourself. From there, you went to the bathroom to brush your teeth and shower before anything else. Once clean and dry and half dressed, you went back out into the main space of the hotel room. Your phone lit up with a new message and you glanced at it. The wedding party had arrived. They were in the lobby. You put your own phone back down to pick up the hotel's landline. When the desk manager answered, you explained the situation. They promised to lead the group to your room. The call ended simply. A short time later, a knock vibrated through the heavy front door. You answered it right away. Derek was there with a smile to greet you. The rest of the party followed in after. Congrats and hellos were exchanged as they passed. Hi, this is great. You have decided to do your own hair. You had a stylist come and do your hair. You had decided to have your mom do your hair. You had decided to have your mom do your hair. Liz, Lee, you had decided. Derek can do my hair? I don't think he'll do like a proper job, but can we see? And can you imagine Derek putting her makeup on? Liz or Lee? They're pretty good with their makeup. So let Liz do it. Derek knew the arrangement. That's so silly. You could have Derek do her hair. Doing the arrangement would make sure it stayed on track. You and your party got right to work, changing, primping, and polishing up for the occasion. You got yourself tucked, zipped, and buttoned into your fanciful dress when a series of rapid but not especially loud knocks struck the door. Only a few people could come to the room without approval, and the sound was not Cove. There wasn't any of his usual notable pauses between knocks. That's left one of the other main option. You thought as your man of honor went over to the answer. Baxter. You're so hot. He's so hot. There on the other side was your partner in this wedding journey. Baxter. His outfit looked as though he reverted back to his teenage self. It was all black. But you were aware that staff would be dressed top to bottom in dark shades and be recognized to the guests as employees and not as possible long-lost cousins twice removed. He offered his polite greetings of his own to you and your party. Hello, and a very good morning to you. Hi, good morning. You look incredible already, but don't fret. I won't interrupt the process for long.
How are you?
I'm here to check in. Is there anything you need? Everything's good here. Do you have a way to speed up time? You would happen to have a cove on you somewhere. I think that's a silly one. The curve is now pulled ever so slightly higher. Unfortunately not. Though let me add, I also came in order to keep you informed on the wedding status. Oh? A helpful bent came through in your tone.
Yeah.
The status is, it's ready when you are. It should go off without a hitch. That was music to your ears. You were so grateful Baxter had gone to as much effort as he had for this. With absolute earnestness, Baxter wished
Take
well.
care.
Take care, Michiko. I'll let you return to your preparation now. See you very soon. The frenzied mood of wedding work swept back in with no further distractions. Liz can do. Did I have Liz? Who did I have? Who? Fuck. The log. Does the log tell me? Okay, I had Liz do my makeup. Lee can do my nails. Your nails were long. For the paint, you went with a pastel color. French tips with a pastel color. French tips with a solid color. French tips with a pastel color. That was specifically pink. Your party was there to get you through the whole morning of preparation. There were laughs and a few tears, all happy. There was a time investment, however, the look did eventually come together. The clothes, your hair, and makeup was all set to what had been planned for the day. You glanced down at yourself, fully dressed to get married. You had a happy twirl, you grinned, satisfied yourself, you swelled the heart, wiped your brows, you released it. I think I would do a happy twirl. You stood in the center of the room, and after a moment to yourself, the rest of the group surrounded you. Oh, Lee! Damn, girl, looking cute! You've never looked better. That's saying something, just saying. Oh, my mom. Wait, they're all in pink! You're dressed to a T. They're actually in pink. Nice job, kiddo. I would have chose a different pink, but you know, whatever. You're all grown up. Oh, Derek. Oh. Yeah, you're gonna knock Cove right out. And then the moment had arrived. Your body felt hot under your expertly tailored clothes. You didn't have to wait any longer. Your wedding was about to begin, and Cove would be there when you arrived. You took a deep, steadying breath and stepped out into the hallway. Rapidly, you made your way to the elevator and took it down to the lobby floor. It didn't take you very long to weave across the Hobby Lobby and exit through the front doors. Outside, you immediately spot the rental car that was sent to bring you to the Poppy Hill. I'm bringing my man of honor. The fuck? I feel like we haven't had a lot of camera time with Derek. You slip into the car and your man of honor tucked in after you. You fidgeted restlessly in your seat and settled on stretching your legs out. The corner of your mouth tugged into a smile with a light chuckle. There was at least plenty of leg room. Glancing out the window, your eyebrows raised in surprise because you recognized just how far you were from Poppy Hill. It would only take a few more minutes until everything you'd been working towards would finally come to fruition. You were somehow even more thrilled now that it was truly happening. Your excitement was replaced with a building nervousness. All your frantic energy was gone and you were purely content. Nothing felt real at all. I think I would start to get nervous now. The cheerful ball of energy you woke up with was slowly morphing into a heavy rock in the pit of your stomach. The closer the car inched to the venue, you more chewed at the inside of your lip. It was happening.
Let's get to it.
You got this, Michiko. All you gotta do is take care of Cove and the rest of us will have everything else covered. He placed a hand on your shoulder and held up a supportive thumbs up with the other. Cracking an uneven grin, you nodded. Thank you, I'm so glad you're here. You reached over and hug. You caught Derek's beaming grin before resting your chin on his shoulder. His laugh rumbled against your chest. Who would have thought this was where all those summers were leading us? Well, it actually isn't that surprising. You both let go and sat comfortably again. Derek smirked. Baxter wasn't kidding either when he said that the hotel was near the ceremony. The trip was already over and there wasn't another second to spare. Carefully you exited the car, went forward, and finally took in the first sight of your ceremony. Aww, okay, see, this is what I did envision as well. Poppy Hill, the quite literal backdrop of your childhood, forever nestled behind the home you grew up in, and the place where you found a sad little wavy eyebrow boy years ago. The distant scent of the sea carried up on the wind mixed with the gentle floral fragrance from the poppies. It was comfort you couldn't get anywhere else. The ceremony's decorations consisted only of a white arch on the crest of the hill, but it didn't need anything more than that. Your hill was perfect just the way it was. Hey Chico, can you imagine if we were marrying him? He also fits nicely here. Your planner had immediately been informed of your arrival and came to greet you right on schedule.
Good afternoon.
How good to see you again, and so soon after the last time. He tilted his head in your direction casually while chuckling. Your attempt to laugh along with him came out more like strangled hiccups. Your nerves still had a complete chokehold on you. Luckily, Baxter understood completely and offered a reassuring smile. Then all the presence of casualness for the day left Baxter's voice. A bright fire lit up his dark eyes. It's showtime. Let's get into our proper positions. The wedding parties are being led up to the front where they'll stand by, while guests are getting distracted to open places to stand in the audience area. Michiko, please go back further with me so you can be ready for the aisle walk. You also might see Cove too early if you stay here, so we can't dally. Sucking in a full breath, you let yourself be led away by Baxter. You only had to hold on a little longer than you could see him. Oh, I'm so excited to see Cove though. You and the planner went back down the bend, and there was an eager hastiness to your paces. A corner was turned, separating you off from the main scene.
Does that sound alright?
Wait here for the music cue, then you can walk, okay? Alright, it's gonna be the best walk any one of these people have ever seen. Good luck, Michiko. I'll congratulate you when it's over. He grinned coyly before leaving you there. He had to handle more of the arrangements behind the scenes so that you and Cole could have your spotlights. An assistant joined you only briefly to hand you the delicately crafted white poppy and peony bouquet he had designed with Cove. You gratefully accepted it, taking hold of the base with both hands and gripping tightly. They made their exit while you tried to relax by breathing in the gentle perfume of the bouquet. It was sweet and beautiful, reminding you of Cove. While standing alone, footsteps, a distant chatter of a crowd, and your own heartbeat pattered in your ears, your eyes closed as you strained to hear the cue above the rest of the noise. But there was no need. You knew the moment had arrived when everything in the distance went silent. It even felt as though your heart froze in place, not wanting to be the one thing to interrupt. The first note was struck, and that was all you needed to move forward. You began to walk to where you knew he would be. It came back around the place to yourself, in the spot you had first been in upon arrival, and the very start of the aisle. A tiny but momentous journey was in front of you. Oh my god. Oh my god, he's so handsome! And he's already tearing up! Oh, Cove! I didn't know he had so much hair! Oh my god, he's so handsome. 1 second. I gotta get my shit together. He lifted your gaze to the end of it all, past the flowers, the guests, and everything else that was between you and your destination. At long last, what you'd been anticipating came to be. You saw him again, waiting for you, ready to marry you. Cove Holden. He was breathtaking. He was right He was right there with shaking legs and crystal clear blue eyes dripping with heavy tears. It never beamed brighter. You were an absolute sobbing mess of emotion. You smiled softly with tears gathering in the corner of your eyes. Your stone stiff from nerve to your unsteady on your feet, afraid you might fade before even Cove had the chance. I think I would smile softly with tears. You watched as his mouth opened and closed as if he was speaking directly to you, though he was much too far away for you to know what the words were. The crowd was full of joy, smiles, and loving glances, but no one made a move to distract you or Cove away from each other. You wouldn't have noticed if they had tried. All you were all you were aware of in the entire world was the fact that every step brought you nearer to him. Step by wobbling step, you carried yourself along, not letting even your own overwhelming fervor prevent you from finishing your crossing. With each uneven footfall, Cove shook anew, and his arms raised a little higher. He wanted to be there for you, but remained where he was supposed to. You didn't keep him waiting. When you arrived at the end of the aisle, you immediately came to stand face to face in front of Cove. Softly, Cove's lips parted again, and finally that time you knew what it was. Your name.
Michiko.
You're so cute. You're so cute. He lifted one hand to wipe tears from the crinkle of your eye. He brought his head lower to be closer to yours, so caressing your face even after those tears were gone. Your tears were soothed to stop. Brand new tears of joy fell. Your tears were soothed to stop, and you pressed your forehead against his. Brand new tears of joy fell, and you pressed. Yeah, I want this one. It couldn't be helped. The delicate way he held you only made your emotions swell more, but you embraced it, nuzzling against the one person who impacted you in such a way. Oh, look how handsome he is! Holy fuck. Didn't think Cove could be any more handsome. Was wrong. A hush came over the crowd as a certified figure began to speak. It was time. And then your man of honor and Cove's best man stepped aside to where the floral garlands laid. Exuberantly, they picked them up and carried them over. Thank you. Ooh, what is this? Are they gonna tell us how they do it? Beaming, Derek gave you a nod. The flowers were delicately passed into your and Cove's hands. With a tiny sigh, he admired the blooms. Cove's eyebrows pinched together with intense focus. He held the flowers as carefully as he could without dropping them. Your heart pounded in your chest as he pivoted towards Cove. Accelerating, your bottom lip trembled. But then he met your gaze and held it. The seriousness in his expression melted away and was replaced with affection. We put the garland Cove first, put the garland you first. No, fuck it. Wait. Oh, wait, Cove put the garland on you. I want to put it on him first. Taking a steadying breath, you went up on your tiptoes and cloaked the garland in your hands around Cove. A light chuckle escaped him while he watched you lower to your normal height. Oh, this is the garland exchange. Oh, that's so cute. He looked down and the grin on his lips grew. Your fingertips were still clinging to the lower half of the garland for another few seconds. When your hands fell back to your sides, Cove returned the gesture. He gently rested the flowers over your shoulders. The ceremony speech flowed over you. You listened to each word, but sentences faded out of focus the second they had passed. It was like having a dream. Thoughts and feelings in your own mind held far more weight than anything outside of it. What did break through to you were Cove's bashful gestures, shuffling feet, quivering eyes, and palatable, nervous energy that was barely swallowed down. Not one single movement went by unnoticed. Before you could completely lose yourself in Cove's gaze, your attention crystallized in an instant. The certified figure had said vows. It struck Cove as well because his knees visibly locked from underneath him. In slow motion, he began to tip backwards. You instinctively grabbed onto his wrist, pulling on his sleeves in an attempt to keep your beloved from leaning further. Numerous sets of arms rose from all around as both your wedding parties poised themselves to catch Cove if he fell their way. Derek took it an extra step further, but by actually stepping forward, he made certain he could get a hold of his friend if he came down. Cole regained control of his legs and caught himself by anchoring back on the ball of his right foot. He kept that firmly planted. He was still so absorbed in the moment that the notion to be embarrassed by his near faint didn't take up any space in his mind. It was as if it hadn't happened, at least for Cove. The certified figure, however, lifted a brow, assessing if your groom was physically capable of completing the ceremony. For all his trembling, Cove stood stiffly, a pillar that could not be moved. It was enough to appease your certified figure into continuing. The couple has chosen to prepare their own vows, and they will share them now. Cove and please began. It took in a long breath through his nose. After so much build up to the wedding and all the effort that it took to create it, this was the final hurdle for him, articulating his deepest feelings about you out loud. Cove looked into your pink eyes, searching for the words he needed. He waited, impressing as much encouragement as you could into your gaze. Finally, Cove began its vows. I'm so thrown off whenever they decide to say your name. We met when we were 8 years old. And well, I wanted to run away to Nevada somehow that first summer I moved into the neighborhood. Truthfully, I planned to do it before my dad and I had even made it to Sunset Bird. It didn't matter what it was going to be like. How could I ever be okay? But I saw you the first day I was there, and nothing went the way I thought. It changed everything in my life. He sunk lower into himself sheepishly and offered a goofy grin. I did still make an attempt at my child mind genius, but it was gonna be for a visit, and you came to find me. You tracked me down all the way to the end of the town. Every far-off image playing out in his mind brought further joy to Cove's features. He laughed nostalgically. You picked my side over your own sister, and you put up with me even when I'd be pretty selfish. You were there for me when I was actually upset.
Thank you.
I got to have a childhood thanks to you. You didn't let me lose it all because I was sad. I had someone I could make those memories I cherish with. Making sandcastles, watching the clouds, catching fireflies, and everything else. But then puberty happened, and so many things seemed harder than before. At least you and me had really become friends by then. It definitely helped me survive it all. That was the time I started sneaking out to visit you through the window. I wanted to be with you when I was happier, when something was wrong. I couldn't stay away. Lucky for me, you didn't mind spending your days or nights in my company. With a light touch of wistfulness, Clover recalled experience after experience from those years. Going on trips together, big ones and small ones, just hanging around our houses in the neighborhood, talking about who you were as people. And that time there was a sun shower. We'd stick together during parties, and you could even make it fun for someone as socially awkward as I am. As he continued to reminisce, he chuckled adorably. And I started getting closer with your family too. Well, at least your mom's. Elizabeth wasn't exactly interested in being good friends when we were teens. I appreciate that you always put up with my parents and their wild plans, by the way. Cove ran a hand down his face tiredly, though the amused smile on his face was wiped away. And speaking of wild plans, I sure got upset when you told me about how my dad offered you $20 to be friends when we were kids. Huh. I feel bad now that I yelled at him. He was trying to make things worse. It just meant a lot to me that the relationship between us was our own. I hated thinking about all the things outside of my control, all the ways the world was bigger than I knew. But I'm glad that I had the chance to talk to him about it in the end, and that we got to talk about it too. Thanks for being honest about it.
I remember.
I can still remember how badly I wanted to be grown up as an awkward tween. Then suddenly graduated high school and it really was time to be an adult. Getting my first job, taking my first long drive without parents, accepting how small our little town was in the grand scheme of things. Just trying to figure out what I was even going to do with my life. I was lost and all I wanted was to make sure I didn't lose what mattered when things had to change. Most of all you. You were my special someone. Oh, you're so sweet. You're so sweet. That was when I had fallen in love with you. You were the first person I was able to open up to about my sexuality, when I finally knew for sure what that was. And you were the one who helped me keep it together when I was overthinking things. His speech of all that he treasured about you went on in an uninterrupted stream. He couldn't stop himself. I could talk to you about anything, like the accident when I got my scar. I knew you would understand. And as mundane and drudging adult stuff could be, I had a source of relief from it because you had been around. You let me have taste of your food, and you always gave the best gifts. You loved me even though I'm not a cool merman who could take you on a magical adventure.
Thanks for waiting for me.
And you lived with how long it took for me to be able to do anything romantic. Oh yeah, that was a mega slow burn. I was feeling a lot and didn't do great at managing it, but I was so clingy too. I never wanted to be apart then. I think I'm a little more of a big boy about it now. Maybe? He at long last stopped to breathe before his emotion-driven attempt to convey himself continued to full force. You make me happy in ways no one else ever could. My dream came true when I got to be your actual, for-real boyfriend. And, well, a lot has happened, huh? We're definitely adults. We're at our own wedding.
It's okay.
We made it through it all the months and months growing up and through making this day happen. Though with how nervous we both were, I think we were worried the planner that we might have just eloped to get away from it all. I love that we panicked together. You're such an admirable human being. Oh, that is such a cute line! You're such an admirable human being. I'd cry. It was the happiest moment of my life when you accepted my proposal. Until now, anyway. I couldn't believe you wanted to be with me as much as I wanted to be with you. I don't want to try and imagine how many tears you wiped away for me in all these years. You helped me have the confidence to grow into a man, and you could still make me feel like a kid again. With you, nothing ever really ends. It just begins again in a new way. Oh my god, that's another good line. And basically what I'm trying to say is, Cove, no matter how hard I try, I can never thank you enough for being mine and letting me be yours. Cove wept heavily, no longer able to stay above the wave of emotions that opening himself up so fully had brought.
I love you.
He futilely wiped a sleeve against his eyes. Every tear the fabric caught was immediately replaced. Those are my vows. I don't know how you're supposed to end them. I hope you'll marry me. You're so touched by his words, you can understand how sweet he was. You giggled at the way he closed it out. It was just like him. You struggle to keep your own feelings in check. You're absolutely stunned by Cove's vows. I think I'm gonna probably giggle at the end, which I clearly did earlier. I'm pretty sure I'm fucking crying. Thank you, Cove. Michiko, you may say yours. The certified figure had all but disappeared from your mind. All that you had been aware of was Cove, but that request couldn't be ignored. Now you would have to take on the endeavor of explaining everything Cove was to you and everything he'd been to you throughout knowing him almost your entire life, if you chose to say. Cove, all I want is to tell you who you are to me. Aww. You're my beloved. Oh, you're my beloved crybaby. You're a wonderful man. You're my precious ocean boy. Aww. You're my Cove! I love puns! We gotta go with this, what the fuck? And I know we were meant to be together, and you're the one I'll love for the rest of my life, and I'll be there for you no matter what. And I'm the luckiest person in the world that I get to say that. The best thing that's ever happened to me, you were too emotional to say anything else. I'm the luckiest person in the world to be able to say that. Oh my god. Cole covered his face with trembling hands. He was murmuring, crying, and all around about to pass out again. Your certified figure nodded contently, accepting those vows as your sworn oath to your very nearly husband. Cole, Holden, do you take Michiko Melody to be your lawful wedded wife? He let his hands fall, ready to face you directly. Cole's shaking, dripping, wet eyes stay locked to yours. And with the confidence of a man who had been waiting for this moment for years, he answered with complete surety.
I do.
It was absolutely heart-stopping, but your turn to respond had come. And do you, Michiko Melody, take Cole Holden to be your lawful wedded husband? What he said. What the fuck? I do! Cole's smile was radiant and his tears were constant. It certainly made him happier than anything he ever had. Derek and Cliff came up to yours and Cole's side once more. This time they brought the boxes containing your wedding bands. Cole's hands shook as he reached for the tiny treasure chest. With a focused furrow to his brow, he accepted the gold ring. He gladly offered your hand to Cove. He cradled it gently in one of his own. For a few seconds, all he could do was stare at your skin, and Cove was so still for a moment, but then he used his free hand to bring the band towards your fingertip. Oh, they didn't make sure you got your nails done. He carefully slid the ring to its proper place on your finger. Your gaze locked onto it, utterly amazed. Oh, he's so cute! I'm so glad I did the flower exchange thing. It looked so good on him. Swallowing thickly, Cove raised his hand out for you. You held it in return and brushed your thumb across his palm. It was your turn. With that, you retrieved the matching ring from its box. It slid in onto Cove's finger beautifully. He gasped under his breath, fixating on the ring. You tenderly squeezed his hand and Cove finally met your eyes again. He held your gaze with an electrifying stare. You were in awe of the whole moment. Then by the power vested in me by the state of California, I pronounce you husband and wife. You can now kiss. Cove's knees may have started knocking together once more, but his gaze was nothing but eager. You reached for each other in a loving kiss. You kissed Cove on the cheek. Cove kissed you on the forehead. You threw yourself into Cove's arms to kiss passionately. See, I love forehead kisses. I cannot tell if I love them way more than actual kisses on the lips. I probably do, to be honest. but we hardly get kisses from Cove. So, I would probably throw myself into Cove's arms to kiss passionately. Waiting even a second longer was impossible. You sprang forward like a shot and tangled yourself around him. Your husband stumbled, but was able to keep proper hold of you as you knew he would. Your lips connected with Cove's in an urgent expression of your love for him. He returned the kiss just as needily. The beautiful flowers of the garlands tickled against your skin as Cove's body pressed it up against you. After your faces shifted away just a hair's breadth so you could see one another fully, his expression was wholly adoring, and you could still feel his warmth lingering. The crowd erupted with cheers and applause around you. Kitty, you ducked your head towards Cove's shoulder and laughed. Oh, confetti! All around you, confetti rained down like delicate flower petals. Your smile widened watching your friends and family excitedly throw it into the air in celebration. Aw, how pretty! Still wish it were bubbles, but that's fine. Biodegradable confetti. Peeking over at Cove, you realized that he was barely paying any attention to the jubilance around you both. Instead, his gaze was solely fixated on you. He gently took your hand, he linked his arms, he walked by your side, he scooped you. Scoop! The corner of your mouth pulled into a bent smile, and then Cove swept you off your feet. You giggled while he secured his hold on you. Beaming, you loosely wrapped your arms around his neck, his skin reddened, and you took the opportunity to rest a hand on his cheek and plant a kiss on the other one. You went down the aisle gleefully as you passed by your friends and family. You caught several thumbs up and proud nods and cheering waves. Some were even still clapping, sniffling your visions, threatened to fill with tears after witnessing more than a handful of people dabbing their eyes with tissues. When you briefly came close enough to Mr. Holden, he patted Cove on the shoulder. Despite his weepy expression, you could tell that he had the greatest pride for his son. You waved at everyone, you blew kisses to the crowd, you shyly covered your face. Thank you, kissed Cove on the cheek, you smiled. I'll probably kiss Cove again. Driven by the absolute joy of the day, your hand slipped up to cup his jaw, and Cove understood what you had in mind. You pressed a big kiss to his cheek, and then shared a quiet, close moment. staring up at him through your eyelashes. After leaving the ceremony in the afternoon, it was time for wedding photos. You and Cove met up with the wedding party and the photographer while the other guests headed over to the reception spot. The excursion was filled with fun and laughter while the photographer set out to get the ideal shots. Cove lovingly held your face, not afraid to show his affection in front of the camera for a change. His thumb brushed lightly across your cheek, and then he pressed his forehead to yours. His breath was warm on your skin, and you closed your eyes shut to relish in his love. When he pulled away, you were speechless, but you also had a feeling that was going to be one of the best shots of the lot. When the sun began to set about an hour later, you knew it was time to rejoin with everyone else, and so you eagerly got back into the car again to finally see the second location. It's just what I dreamed of or envisioned. This is so stinking beautiful. It's so beautiful. You and Cove took a turn down the main path. There, your friends and family were patiently waiting for this moment. The room filled with familiar cheers, whistles, and applause at your arrival. As the noise lessened, you began to hear various calls of congrats and welcome backs. The love emanating from your friends and family was palpable. Baxter made his way to the center of the area and began to gesture people back. The rest of the staff followed his lead and made space in the crowd. When the path cleared out, you took a deep breath. It was time. The beginning note of your first dance song played. You heard a few of the guests speak in hushed tones, anticipation rising as the melody kicked in. It was slow-paced. Cove met your eyes as ready as he could be and you took his hand. You heard the high-pitched whine of a microphone and saw Baxter smiling. And now the couple will have their first dance. While your legs were shaking from all the acute emotions still lingering from the ceremony, your joy from getting to dance with your husband gave you the strength to make your way to the dance floor. Cove did his best to remember his emotions that were meant to go with the rhythm of the track. His long, deliberate steps were very careful to not land anywhere near your toes. Your dance lessons were worth it. You managed everything in the dance. You did well enough for your level of dancing experience. You made some missteps. Your dance lessons were worth it. You performed beautifully and mentally said thank you to Baxter for the dance lessons. Because of that work, your dancing was perfect. With Cove's hands in yours, you both made your mark on the dance floor and gave the crowd a show. The two of you gallivanted across the floor, hearts pounding, expressions bright. Eventually, Cove was able to get in the flow, his body relaxed, and you could see the confidence slowly eased into him. Softly, he took a moment to speak to you. This is the first moment to ourselves since even before the wedding. Cove clearly was grateful for the chance to finally talk to you. You're beautiful. You too, I'm so lucky no one's more lovely than you. You blush speechless, you squeeze his hand with affection. I think I'll be speechless. Rather than try to find words, you focused to make sure that you kept dancing correctly. Cove flushed a light rosy pink and beamed at you. This makes me think of that night of the summer soiree. This makes me think of the Orca fundraiser dinner. This makes me think of that night of the Orca fundraiser dinner. Is that the same thing? I don't know. The summer soiree. Cove let a stuttering laugh. His face went through a roller coaster of emotions before settling on amused. I hope that I'm at least a better dancer now than I was then.
Me too.
But honestly, I was thinking about that too. I couldn't have ever imagined then when dancing with you that one day we'd be here dancing at our own wedding. Cove sighed dreamily as he looked into your eyes. Thank God the ceremony's over and we can just be married now. Not that the wedding is bad. He winced as soon as he realized how his words sounded. He shook his head. I just kept thinking that I ruined something or something terrible would happen. At this point, a truck full of apples could come through and destroy dinner and I wouldn't care. I'm just sure you wouldn't get depressed over missing out on a meal. Please no, you're so adorable. Now that will be something to remember. You're so adorable. You were glad that this man was yours to keep. He was the cutest. Then the music reached the bridge of the song with complex choreography. Both of you had to focus more on the dance. That stopped your conversation in its track. The two of you became absorbed into dancing once more as the song's end grew closer and closer. The final note was struck, and the dance ended in a spinning flourish. The dance ended with you dipping Cove dipping you, and then with both of you landing the final step. The dance ended with a bit of stumbling. A spinning flourish, that's cool. The two of you pulled each other close and twirled together. The wind blew past your face and you both started giggling like children. Faster and faster you spun until you ran out of breath from your joyful laughter. Cove's lips brushed over your ear. You're a really good partner. Her face felt hot, and it wasn't only from the dancing. You heard a clap that steadily transformed into wild applause. Turning to face the crowd, you looked over to your friends and family cheering you. You bowed, you curtsied, you did your own mini celebration dance to mark your success. You wiped your brow, your shyness reared its head, and you had to look away. You grinned at all encouraging faces. I think I would curtsy. You gracefully curtsied to your audience, keeping your back straight and your knees low. Then the clapping got louder. Tilting your head back to your husband, you caught his proud smile. Coe continued to watch you rather than switching his attention to the gas. He twisted his wedding band bashfully around his finger. With the first dance done, you both left the open floor to join the others and properly greet your seated guests. Cove offered you his arm to take once more. You offered Cove your arm instead. You took his hand instead. You took hold of his arm. Yeah, why not? Your arm wrapped around his, fitting as snugly together as matching pieces of a puzzle. It was a hold that could not easily be broken. Physically and legally linked to the other, you and Cove went forward as one. After only a few strides, you'd arrived to the nearest table in the arrangement. It had close family all the way around, including your mom and ma. The two had scooted their chairs closer and were eagerly whispering to one another, trading words of excitement back and forth. Feeling awkward about having to interrupt, though, realizing there's no reason to feel that way, Cove cleared his throat to announce your and his presence.
Hey.
Hi! Stepping out of their private favor, for whatever that word is, your parents turned in enthusiasm straight towards the two of you. You waved them, you went between them to give them two a hug from behind, reached over to take their hands. A hug. The two leaned into your shoulders, turning the embrace. After keeping hold long, my eyesight is just bleeding words together now. Hold long enough to be warmed up by the shared body heat. You let go in order to stand up straight. Hello again, kiddos. Mom folded her hands together on the tabletop daintily and followed Mom with her own greeting. Welcome. It's so good to have you here at the reception now. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Of course.
The ceremony was beautiful. You sure nailed theming with that venue. Absolutely incredible. And having the reception here is perfect. It's nice you noticed. I really put my heart into this. Hearing people actually discuss the wedding as a real event, Cove became tongue-tied. Your mom watched over the both of you with a gaze as doting as it was knowing. Have fun greeting everyone else. We'll be here if you need us. Lonnie's right. We can entertain ourselves while you're busy with your big day. I love you, Moms. Thank you so much. You're the best parents anyone asked for. I appreciate everything. And look at you have such lovely children. I love you, Moms. Thanks again, Moms. Aww. Mom's fingers squeezed together even more tightly, a visual representation of the restraint she was exerting not to cheer inappropriately loudly. While Mom attempted to not spook Cove after his tepid attempt to use a new title, Mom had no qualms saying something embarrassing. Woohoo! We got upgraded. It's about time. Pam! Cove's gaze immediately dropped to his feet and his near constant flush from the day reappeared. He gave your husband a reassuring pat on the arm, proud and pleased at his braveness. Okay, bye. Cove scuttled off, needing escape, and you gave your parents a wave as you stuck by him. Goodbye. Good luck out there. You and Cove's mom took their glasses of wine in hand and clinked them together celebratorily. To Michiko and Cove. With matching images of each other, they slipped a drink and good cheer. Located at the same table were Cove's parents. They were taking it easy until Cliff noticed you and Cove had eyes on him. His grin ramped up to 1,000 watts.
Hey.
It's our local celebrities of the day. Cliff folded his arms self-satisfied. Even here he looks handsome. The wedding's all been going to plan, I'm pretty sure, but I'll keep watch still, and if there's anything else I can do, just give me a shout. Cove brightened in a similar way. His tone was full of affection for his father. Hi, Dad, and thanks. Smiled shyly, held out a thumbs up. You walked around the table and gave him I love hugs. Hell yeah. It was tricky to weave through the space, but you were able to get in arm's reach of Cliff. He opened up his arms wide for you and then squeezed you back. Soon you had to get out from behind your chairs and other guests, so you let Cliff go and nudged your way over to Cove again. Cliff began to chuckle amusedly as his eyebrows lifted higher on his head. You know, Michiko, I was there in the hotel earlier with Cove today, and it was an event. You should have seen how excited my boy was when you rang. Trying to make up for you not being there in person, he put on a full imitation of the scene. Cliff tugged at his cheeks and raised the pitch of his voice. Oh my god, Michiko's calling! The real deal was proven to be far superior when Cove followed right behind with a genuine exclamation of shock. Dad! Cliff let his arms return to their relaxed cross positioning after that performance, shaking his head fondly. The two of you met when you were 8, and Cove still gets like gets like that from a phone call. It's nice. Your heart fluttered at the thought of it. It made you happy to know he missed you and that the flame he held for you burned as bright as ever. Aw, I'm glad he missed me. Cove made a meager attempt to give his father a cross look, but it was soon overrun by a blush. Your positive reaction was a far bigger deal to him than the teasing. Cliff slyly winked, waving you and Cove off.
Right.
I don't have to hug you. Everyone wants to see you. Okay, see you later. Bye, Dad. I'm sure that made his heart just like frozen for a second of shock. A loud gasp escaped Cliff. He glanced over at Cove for his reaction. He grinned sweetly with misted eyes, agreeing wholeheartedly with your statement. Now all that was needed was to see if you'd get Cliff's own acceptance. You didn't have to wait long for it. Overwhelmed with emotion, his voice squeaked at first, but he barely noticed he was beaming with joy. Of course. I don't know how I ended with 2 kids as good as you. Cliff surveyed his 2 children proudly with his chest puffed out. I have to say, well, actually, I'll say it a little later. You have to wait for my big speech. Here it comes. Get ready, Chico. Come on, sport. It's gonna be great. Now go on. I love you. Love you too, both of you. Then finally, you rounded the table's edge and reached the side where Kyra sat. She was patiently sipping at a chilled cup of water, placing it down when she noted it was time for the meet and greet with the 2 of you. Hey, Mom. My God, she's so beautiful. Hello, babies. Can I hug? Okay, I was looking for it. It took some stretching, but you were able to gain enough access to Kyra's space in order to give her a solid hug. She put her arms around your shoulders gladly. You shared that affectionate touch for a moment and then shifted your seat back up. Shifted yourself, not my seat. Thanks for coming. It's really nice to see you. And it's fantastic to be here. This has been wonderful. Also, that was a marvelous dance. Such an incredible way to make an entrance. Cove kicked the tip of his shiny shoes at nothing in particular, and his shoulders shifted from side to side shyly. Cove was forever incapable of seeming like a full-grown man in front of his mom. Kyra's brows bent as she looked on him adoringly, but then she shut her eyes and brought out more energy. I'll see the TV again soon. You should go explore the rest of your exquisite reception. Oh, alright. We probably should do that. Bye. Bye, Mom. She froze for a split second. Her hand flew to her mouth as her gaze landed back on you. Slowly she lowered it, revealing the widest smile you'd ever seen on her face. In her gentlest tone, Kyra cooed, "Goodbye, baby." Cove was positively melting from happiness seeing you and your shared mom speak to one another that way. Hell yeah, I love you. Perfect, because I love you. Aww. Then you had to continue on to the next table in the seating arrangement. There were still guests waiting to see the both of you. You had a pleasant conversation with your aunt and uncle on Mom's side. They couldn't have been more pleased that you had found someone who made you as happy as Cove did. Right by was their daughter, your cousin, as well as your older sister. They were throwing looks, not so subtly waiting to speak their piece, but didn't interrupt your chat with other family. But this is where I'm gonna stop for today's episode real quick. I wanted to put everything in here together, but I forgot that I wanted every fucking character in the game to make their own speech as well, so I feel like it's gonna be like another episode in. But thank you guys for watching today's episode. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.